Hey guys, how's it going? I'm John Panapinto, and as you know, I love movies. So what I decided to do this year was to watch all of the Oscars Best Picture nominees. That way you don't have to. There were some good, there were some bad, and we're going to talk about them all. Today we're going to talk about two films, one of which has 9 nominations and one of which has 8. The first being Martin McDonagh's The Banshees of Inisherin, a very small drama with a very small cast. It was nominated for Best Picture, obviously, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Original Screenplay, Best Original Score, and Best Film Editing. This is a movie that I found to be very interesting, very much like a play, and we're going to get into that in a second. The second film we're going to discuss is Elvis, which has 8 nominations: Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Cinematography, Best Production Design, Best Costume Design, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Film Editing, and Best Sound. This was maybe one of the highest profile Best Picture nominations, maybe the one that got the most eyeballs, maybe one or two others. So this one's going to be an interesting discussion as well. Today I'm going to have on my friend Frank, my co-host for the Nothing Podcast with Nobody Important. Frank has seen both of these films and has very strong opinions on both of them, and we're going to get to talking about them right now. Hey, Frank.
I'm here.
Thanks for joining me to talk about movies.
Thank you. I brought my new headphones.
Yes, very rare do we align on movies we can talk about.
It's true. They're not Marvel movies. That's why.
No, and you've seen these two as well, which is a nice plus.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to you about first Banshees of Inisherin.
Oh, yeah.
Which I had discovered and then passed your way, and then you ran with it hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's nominated for Best Picture. For a
Yeah.
long time, it was my number one pick for Best Picture. I loved it.
Okay.
I still love it, and I would not be upset if it won.
I agree. I don't think it will win. I think it's excellent. I loved it, but I don't think it'll win.
What did you love about it? Because people would think, why did you love? So many people have talked about it, been like, you liked that movie?
Yeah. So this is written by Martin McDonagh, who's written a lot of plays also. And I have not seen all of his stuff. I have not seen all of his movies. But the Martin McDonagh stuff that I know are all in this vein of there's some moments of shock that happen.
Right.
Things are kind of allegorical. Things are usually based in Ireland or some little island in Ireland or something that I don't really know Irish geography. There's a lot of loneliness is the vibe. It's simple. It's regular people. Again, the shocking thing happens. And that's what this movie was. Plus the dialogue, I think, is really, really funny. And the performances are excellent.
Right. It's just so human is why I left this movie going, wow, this is just a story about humans.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people say
until the absurdity creeps in.
Right. But I was talking, when you look through these movies that are nominated for Best Picture, there's actually a theme, which is totally by chance, but there is a theme. A lot of these movies are absurd, but when you get through the absurdity, it's about real people.
Yeah.
Which is all movies and stories are about. But there's something about all of these movies is just like so over the top, and you're like, this is crazy. But then when you really shave away the craziness, there's a real human story in there. And this one I felt like was so much about redemption and forgiveness and kindness and legacy and humanity, and all of that is just from a story about two guys who just, one of them doesn't want to be friends anymore.
That's it. And I don't want to give anything away, but I mean, first 2 minutes of the movie is the premise is set up. It's one guy saying to his very close friend, I just don't want to be your friend anymore. Go away.
Right.
Which already is absurd because we don't do that. Right. And then it just gets more and more absurd, but it also seems very plausible. And it's also really funny, I think, because there's nothing to do in Inisherin.
Right.
Pub and gossip at the store with the post office. That's it. And to literally say, you're just too boring, I can't be your friend, is so funny because there's nothing to do there.
Right. So some of the things it's nominated for a lot of things. Martin McDonagh is nominated, I believe, for screenplay and for director. But the performances, okay? So you got Colin Farrell, right? Yeah. Who's nominated for Best Actor. They, I guess, decided he's the lead of the movie, which he is. And then Brendan Gleeson, who is amazing, has kind of gone past my radar, but is such a great actor for such an older guy. He's been in so many things, and how did I just miss him? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know him.
No, so that's also okay. So you get the two of them. That's obvious. Kerry Condon is nominated for Best Supporting Actress for playing Siobhan, the sister.
Okay.
I say, fine.
I agree.
What I find interesting though is Barry Keoghan is nominated for Best Supporting Actor as well.
That's the fool. That's the kid who's like,
yeah. And that's an interesting character, an interesting performance. He's kind of hit the ground running in a bunch of things. He's got one of those faces that you hate, but he played just such an interesting character with such an interesting fate to him.
Right. Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. What I found striking about the movie, and I've told you about this before, is when you know it's a good movie, it's an interesting movie, but then when you know your Irish history and the history of the Civil Wars.
You taught me this part. You taught me this.
Yeah, both of them really. And I equated it to the Troubles, which is in the 90s in Belfast and Northern Ireland. But actually, I didn't even realize there was a Civil War before that. And that's the one that takes place during this movie. And the fact that they watched a Civil War happening, and then it's a smaller Civil War on their own private island.
Yep.
It's just the dichotomy of like the war and the war at home. It's just so interesting.
I think this movie has balls. I really has balls. Okay. Literally that part so good, so funny. The guy in the chair, right?
Yep.
It shouldn't. It feels like it shouldn't be nominated for an Oscar. It feels like it shouldn't because it doesn't fit into any of these categories. But it is so good, right? And like the archetypes in it, and the old lady who's like, maybe she's a prophet, maybe she's doom, maybe she's just an old lady.
She's the Banshee.
What a crazy movie.
Yeah, it's a weird movie. And
she's the Banshee.
Yeah, I've heard many people say that it's not good. Everybody hates it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
No,
it's so good because it's almost a bit theatrical, I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but it's it's just wild. I think it's a wild movie. I'm so happy you told me about it. When the first shocking thing happened, right? He calls his bluff on something. He says, "I'm going to do this," and then he does it, and you go, "Oh!"
That's what I said. I literally said out loud, "Oh, this is one of those movies."
It goes that way.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So let's move on really quickly to Elvis.
Yeah.
Which to me, I keep forgetting is in this category because for you're not like a super insider, but like it came out way early in the season, which usually it takes it out of the race. So the fact that it's held on this long to be part of the Oscar conversation means they must really like it. I mean, Austin Butler is great. Excellent. The movie itself, I could take or leave. No? Did you really enjoyed it? You liked it, I think, more than I did.
I do like Baz Luhrmann movies a lot.
Yeah, sure.
Very specific style. You know, it's his movie. It's cartoony. It's in your face. It's bright. I did like it a lot. I liked him a lot. I thought he was insanely good. He clearly put a lot of work in. You look at Austin Butler. Is he nominated for Best Actor?
Yes.
Right. And then you look at Colin Farrell, who was also good. But I mean, just on merit of the work they must have put into this thing, Austin Butler should take it.
Yeah, I mean, we discount, of course, Brendan Fraser because we're not talking about The Whale because the movie's not nominated. But I haven't seen that. I don't want to say he carries the metaphorical and literal weight, but he seems to be that's the case. But yeah, I mean, Austin Butler clearly putting in the work, you know,
good.
And then the after the fact work where people won't leave him alone because his voice still sounds like Elvis.
Speaking of the metaphorical weight, though, Hanks.
Yeah, a rare miss for Tom Hanks, in my opinion.
Big miss.
Yeah, but the movie succeeds even with that cartoon character floating around.
But imagine if it was an actor I never heard of Austin Butler before this. I guess I'm in the dark. But so watching it, I didn't have like an Austin Powers history to draw from. So not Austin Powers, sorry.
Austin Powers as Elvis. Austin Powers as Elvis Costello.
So I didn't have that history to draw from. So I took him at face value as this is Elvis. But Tom Hanks in this fat suit.
He looked like a Mr. Potato Head.
I wish they got somebody that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Or anyone but Tom Hanks, because you couldn't miss. I mean, he was in these prosthetics, but then it was like when Heidi Klum dressed as the worm, but if you looked really close, you knew it was Heidi Klum. Like in here, get that guy out of that movie. That's what I said.
My thing is, and I always say this as a fella of sizable nature, you're going to tell me there wasn't a real person who looked like that? I see people who look like that all the time on the street. You got to bring in somebody and put him in all the makeup to make him do that. Now, granted, Tom Hanks is probably a better actor than the guy on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll make this same argument for The Batman, which is also nominated for Best Makeup.
Mm-hmm.
I went into that movie. Did you see The Batman? You did, right? Yeah.
Loved it.
Went into that movie angry at Colin Farrell for playing a portly gentleman when he didn't need to.
Mm-hmm.
But then he was incredible. I thought his performance was incredible. He justified the means. Tom Hanks does not justify those means. You could have gotten an actual fat middle-aged guy to play that part. Sure. And you didn't. Instead, you got Tom Cruise doing Foghorn Leghorn.
No, Tom Hanks, not Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise and Austin Powers.
Tom Cruise. Oh, we're not talking about Tropic Thunder with Tom in the fat suit. Oh, I'm sorry, I watched the wrong movie. No, it was. He was really. That's the thing. I don't. That disqualifies it for me as a potential winner for Best Picture because you just have one thing that stands out about it: Austin Butler, and that's it. The movie itself is not that great. It's okay. Baz Luhrmann is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe he's nominated for Best Director.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's a good movie, but it's one of those that I forget is involved.
Yeah, but I think, don't you feel like Baz Luhrmann movies always feel like Cirque du Soleil?
They do. Yeah, oh, absolutely.
That's why I feel like it's not involved, but it is involved. I mean, that guy, Austin Butler, this guy was so good. It was so good. He plays Elvis at the piano at the end, all sweaty with the neck.
Yeah.
That was great.
Take Brendan Fraser, take a walk.
Oh, Brendan Fraser is America's sweetheart.
Yeah, okay.
Not take a walk.
He can't
walk. He's stuck with the
can't walk. He's the whale. All right, well,
Fudgy the whale.
Frank, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about movies. Something that you're doing me a favor, which I know is I appreciate.
Thank you. I have to go pick up my sushi now.
Go get your sushi. All right, we'll talk to you later.
Thank you, America.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank my friend Frank Caiati for joining me to talk about these films. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at The Man with the Black Glasses and at The Nothing Pod, as well as check me out on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, pretty much everywhere you might find me or might not want to find me. And tune in tomorrow or yesterday or right now on the rest of the feed for all of the other films nominated for the 2023 Best Picture race at the Oscars. Thanks.